Hello and welcome to day 164 of our Chronological Bible and Year reading plan. Today we have 1 Kings chapter 8 and 2 Chronicles chapter 5. 1 Kings chapter 8, start us off. Then Shelomo assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, to sovereign Shelomo in Jerusalem to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to sovereign Shelomo at the festival in the month of Ethanim, which, or I guess it'd be Ethanim, whatever, which is the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Kohanim, which are the priests, took up the ark, and brought up the ark of Yahuwah, and the tent of appointment, and all the Kadesh utensils, which Kadesh means holy or sanctified, or set apart, that were in the tent, and the Kohanim and the Levites brought them up. And sovereign Shelomo and all the congregation of Israel who had assembled with him were with him before the ark, slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that they could not be counted or numbered. And the Kohanim brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah to its place, into the speaking place of the house, to the most Kadesh place, under the wings of the cherubim, which are angelic beings. For the cherubim spread 2 wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles extended so that the ends of the poles were seen from the Kadesh place, in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside. And they are there to this day. There was not in the ark only the 2 tablets of stone which Moshe put there at Horeb, where Yahuwah made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. And it came to be, when the Kohanim came out of the Kadesh place, that the cloud filled the house of Yahuwah, so that the Kohanim were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Yahuwah filled the house of Yahuwah. And Shelomo said, Yahuwah has said he would dwell in the dense cloud. I have indeed built you an exalted house, an established place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and Barak, which means blessed, all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Baruch, blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand has filled it, saying, since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mitzrayim, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. But Yahuwah said to my father David, because it has been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son, who is coming from your loins, he builds the house for my name. Now Yahuwah has established his word which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahuwah promised, and built the house for the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. And have appointed there a place for the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahuwah, which he made with our fathers, when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Shelomo stood before the altar of Yahuwah in front of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward the Shamayim, which means the heavens, and said, Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, there is no Elohim in the Shamayim, above or on earth below, like you, guarding your covenant and kindness with your servants who walk before you with all their heart, who has guarded that which you promised your servant David my father. Indeed, you have both spoken with your mouth and have filled it with your hand, as it is this day. And now, Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, guard what you promised your servant David my father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours before me, sitting on the throne of Israel, only if your sons guard their way to walk before me, as you have walked before me. And now, O Elohim of Israel, please let your word come true, which you have spoken to your servant David my father. For is it true, Elohim dwells on the earth? See, the Shamayim and the Shamayim of the Shamayim are unable to contain you, how much less this house which I have built. Yet shall you turn to the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Yahuwah my Elohim, and listen to the cry and the prayer which your servant is praying before you today. for your eyes to be open toward this house night and day, toward the place of which you said, My name is there, to listen to the prayer which your servant makes toward his place, or towards this place. Then shall you hear the supplication of your servant and of your people Yisrael when they pray towards this place, when you hear in your dwelling place in the Shamayim. And shall you hear and forgive? If anyone sins against his neighbor, and he has lifted up an oath on him to cause him to swear, and comes and swears before your altar in this house, then hear in the Shamayim, and act and rightly rule your servants, declaring the wicked wicked, and bringing his way on his head, and declaring the righteous right, by giving him according to his righteousness. When your people Yisrael are smitten before an enemy, because they have sinned against you, and they shall turn back to you and confess your name, and pray and make supplication to you in this house, then hear in the Shamayim and forgive the sin of your people Yisrael, and bring them back to the land which you gave to their fathers. When the Shamayim are shut up and there is no rain because they sin against you, when they pray toward this place and confess your name, and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the Shamayim and forgive the sin of your servants, your people Yisrael, for you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall give rain on your land which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence, blight, mildew, locusts, grasshoppers, when their enemy distresses them in their land of their cities, any plague, any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication by anyone of all your people Yisrael, each knowing the plague of his own heart, and shall spread out his hands toward this house, then hear in the Shamayim your dwelling place, and forgive, and act, and render unto everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know, because you and you alone know the hearts of all the sons of men, so that they revere you all the days that they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Also concerning a foreigner who is not of your people Israel, but has come from a far land for your name's sake, since they hear of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and he shall come and pray towards this house. Hear in the Shamayim your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you, so that all peoples of the earth know your name and revere you, as do your people Yisrael, and know that this house which I have built is called by your name. When your people go out to battle against their enemy in the way that you send them, and they shall pray to Yahuwah toward the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then shall you hear in the Shamayim their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause. When they sin against you, for there is no one who does not sin, and you become enraged with them, and give them to the enemy, and they take them captive to the land of the enemy, far or near, and they shall turn back unto their heart in the land where they have been taken captive, and shall turn, and make supplication to you in the land of those who took them captive, saying, We have sinned and acted wickedly, we have committed wickedness. And they shall turn back to you with all their heart and with all their being in the land of their enemies, who led them away captive, and shall pray to you toward their land which you gave to their fathers, the city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name. Then shall you hear in the Shamayim your dwelling place their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you, and all their transgressions which they have transgressed against you, and give them compassion before those who took them captive, and they shall have compassion on them. For they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out of Mitzrayim, out of the iron furnace. Let your eyes be open to the supplication of your servant and the supplication of your people Yisrael, to listen to them whenever they call to you. For you have separated them unto yourself for an inheritance out of all the peoples of the earth, as you spoke by the hand of your servant Moshe, when you brought our fathers out of Mitzrayim, O Adonai Yahuwah. And it came to be, when Shlomo had ended praying all this prayer and supplication to Yahuwah, that he rose up from before the altar of Yahuwah from the kneeling on his knees, with his hands spread up to the Shamayim. And he stood in Barak, which again means blessed, all the assembly of Yisrael, with a loud voice, saying, Baruch be Yahuwah, who has given rest to his people Yisrael, according to all that he promised. There has not failed one word of all his good word, which he promised through his servant Moshe. Yahuwah our Elohim is with us, as he was with our fathers. He does not leave us nor forsake us, to incline our hearts to himself, to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commands, and his laws, and his right rulings, which he commanded our fathers. Excuse me. Let these words of mine, which I have made supplication before Yahuwah, be near Yahuwah our Elohim day and night, to maintain the cause of his servant, and the cause of his people Yisrael, the matter of each day and its day, so that all the peoples of the earth might know that Yahuwah is Elohim, there is no one else. Let your heart therefore be perfect to Yahuwah our Elohim, to walk in his laws and guard his commands, as at this day. And the sovereign and all Yisrael with him made slaughterings before Yahuwah. And Shelomo brought peace offerings which he slaughtered to Yahuwah, 22,000 bulls and 120,000 sheep. Thus the sovereign and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of Yahuwah. On that day the sovereign kadosh, which means sanctified or set apart, the middle of the courtyard that was in front of the house of Yahuwah. For there he made burnt offerings, and the grain offerings, and the fat of the peace offerings, because the bronze altar that was before Yahuwah was too small to contain the burnt offerings, and the grain offerings, and the fat of the peace offerings. And Shelomo at that time observed the festival, and all Yisrael with him, a great assembly from the entrance of Hamath to the Wadi, which is the... Is that the valley or the river?
The...
A Wadi. Let me see. I think it's a river. Oh, it doesn't say in my glossary here. But I'm pretty sure it's a river. Oh, it's a valley, ravine, or dry riverbed. Okay. To the Wadi of Mitzrayim before Yahuwah our Elohim 7 days and 7 days, 14 days. On the 8th day he sent the people away, and they barak the sovereign, and went to their tents rejoicing, and glad of heart for all the goodness that Yahuwah had done for his servant David, and for Yisrael his people. And that concludes chapter 8. Hopping back over to 2 Chronicles now. Chapter 5. 2 Chronicles chapter 5. And all the work that Shelomo had done for the house of Yahuwah was completed. And Shelomo brought in the Kadesh items of his father David, the silver and the gold and all the utensils, and he put them in the treasuries of the house of Elohim. And Shelomo assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, and Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Yisrael assembled to the sovereign at the festival, which was in the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark, and they brought up the ark, the tent of appointment, and all the Kadesh utensils that were in the tent. The Levite Kohanim brought them up. And sovereign Shelomo and all the congregation of Yisrael who were assembled to him before the ark were slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that could not be counted or numbered. And the Kohanim brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah to its place, and to the speaking place of the house, to the most Kadesh place, under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles were so long that the ends of the poles from the ark were seen from in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside. And they are there to this day. There was not in the ark but the 2 tablets which Moshe put there at Horeb, when Yahuwah made a covenant with the children of Israel, when they came out of Mitzrayim. And it came to be, when the Kohanim came out of the most Kadesh place, for all the Kohanim who were present had Kadosh themselves, there was none to watch by division. And the Levite singers, and all those of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun with their sons and their brothers, stood at the east end of the altar, dressed in white linen, having cymbals and harps and lyres, and with them 120 Kohanim sounding with trumpets. Then it came to be, as the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Yahuwah. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and with cymbals and with instruments of song, and giving praise to Yahuwah, for he is good and his kindness is everlasting, that the house of Yahuwah was filled with a cloud. And the Kohanim were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Yahuwah filled the house of Elohim. And that concludes our reading for today. Thank you for joining. I hope you've been reading along. And peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.